Do you guys have any idea what it's like to be the host of Guitar Stuff with John? You get any clue what I have to go through? It's awesome. You just don't even know. I get guitars coming through here. It's like a swimming pool of tonal aggregate. It's like it's like a catapult filled with sound smashing into your happy bone 24 hours a day. It's awesome. Where are you? I can't see you this close.
Guitar Stuff with John.
Welcome to another Guitar Stuff with John. John of the Gray Stetson. It's a legend in his own behind. Partner. Sorry, I haven't worn this hat for a while. I like it. Anyhow, this review, is going to be dedicated to Tom at the Bowersox International Guitar Fest in New Braunfels, Texas. Hence the Stetson. Couldn't do a Texas-based Guitar Stuff with John without wearing a good cowboy hat. I was down there in September of this year, 2024. And the premise behind this event is Tom's great love of guitar builders and guitars. He has a massive collection. So he invites in a dozen or so builders into his home, a huge house down there. And it's a 3-day festival, a love fest, basically. You just go in there and drool and play guitars and meet builders, and it was amazing. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever been a part of. And I intend to go back next year if he'll have me. I was there as a clinician and a performer. And it was just amazing. I was blown away. I met so many great builders. I met a fellow named Steve Sheriff, who I've spoken on the channel about so far. He builds he's a single bench builder that builds Edwinson guitars from Fairhope, Alabama, my old stomping ground. And there was another fellow there that I met that completely floored me. And his name is Stephen Kinnaird. And it's the Irish spelling, Kinnaird, but they pronounce it Canard. That's a good southern way of doing it. And this man built guitars that I was actually afraid to go near his display all weekend, because I knew if I touched one that I would have to bring him on board as a partner in the channel, because I could tell by the way they looked and I could hear people playing them that they were of the supernatural sort that I look for when I come across these single bench guys, right? That's where the magic is in the guitar building world, is and always has been. The one guy that sits around his bench all year long building 10, 15, possibly even 20 guitars a year. That's pushing it, but 10 to 15. And when you put one of their instruments in your hands, you've got something that's not only a one-off, it's a completely unique instrument. There's no copy of it out there. It's mind-blowing when you think about the amount of work that goes into that. So anyhow, I met this guy, and he was a beautiful guy. Again, this seems to be the way it goes with builders. You can put him and Robin Boucher and George Crackett and Dave Mathis and MJ Franks, and you put them all in a room together, and there'd be so much niceness, oozing out under the door that the whole world would change. You know what I mean? They're that kind of people. So Stephen's story is a very fascinating one. He told me this, and I found this amazing, so I'm going to tell it to you. He's freshly married. He's on his honeymoon. Him and his wife are heading back to Texas. I think it was Texas he was going back to, and they were passing through Tennessee. And Stephen was overcome with the desire to meet J.W. Gallagher, right? This is in the 70s. He wanted to meet the guy that was building guitars for Doc Watson, Johnny Cash, Neil Diamond, Waylon Jennings. Like, he wanted to meet that guy. He was a huge fan of the guitars, and he was a young kid at the time, freshly married, as I said. So him and his newlywed bride are passing through Wartrace, Tennessee. They veer off and go to Wartrace, and they start looking around for Gallagher's shop, but they got no idea where it is or how to find it. So they decide, well, let's ask somebody we see on the road. It's a small town. And sure enough, they see a guy out in his driveway. I think he was fixing his car or mowing his lawn or something. Roll the window down and say, hey, do you know where that gentleman is that builds guitars? His name is J.W. Gallagher. We'd like to meet him. And the guy turned around and said, well, you have met him already. It's me. The first try, right? They find him. So what happens? J.W. Gallagher, as well as being one of the most innovative and renowned guitar players in the last 200 years. Builders. He was a builder, you dink. It was also one of the most generous, kind-hearted, giving individuals you could ever meet. And he took this young Stephen Canard into his shop, and he showed him everything. He showed him how everything was done, how he chose wood, how he tuned tops, how he just overloaded him with all this information without really even being asked. This is how we do this. I built this machine to do this. This is how I do the tops. This is how I do the sides, and blah, blah, blah. And Don was there. JW's son was there with them. And so Stephen Kinnaird, after this meeting, he left that shop a changed man. Like, I believe he's told me he was about to go into cabinet making himself, which is where J.W. Gallagher came from, was cabinet building. And he went home with the bug, right, to build guitars. So sometime in the future, he started building them. And he's been building them now. I don't remember how many he's told me he's made, but it's quite a few. And he's been at it now for many years. And I'm going to show you this guitar. This is one of the greatest dreadnoughts I've ever played. And you guys, I say that all the time about guitars, but it's true. My top 10 list has got 100 guitars on it, because I've played so many great guitars that just boggled my mind that the list becomes irrelevant. They're either at the top of the mountain or they're not. This one is at the top of the mountain, along with the Bouchers, the Gallaghers, the Aries, the Yamaha, all these great dreadnoughts that I've shown you over the past 5 years. This one here, boy, this is the Stephen Kinnaird. And look at that headstock. He was so taken by what JW did that he copied JW's headstock and added that little French tip to it as a tribute to JW, so that no one would ever forget where he got the bug. And I would assume learned a lot from that old man when they met. It blew his mind. And you're going to tell by the sound of this guitar that he took all those things to heart, and he builds truly one of the best dreadnoughts in the world. You're looking at one right now. It's so incredibly loud. It's the volume, the sound pressure coming out of this thing is terrifying. And I'm barely touching it. It has this incredible midpoint that you can sort of call on. It's like a turbo boost in the middle, where if you're needing to cut through something, you just give it a little extra juice in the right hand, and all of a sudden there's this beautiful penetrating mid that will just blow through anything that's playing along with it. I can't stop playing it. It's just, the more you play it, the more you hear. And it's just incredible. Stephen Canard is one of the greatest guitar builders on the planet right now. And there's no question about that. When you play this guitar, just how scary this thing is. It's unbelievable. And yeah, it's, what are you going to say? You can hear the sound of it, and I can tell you right now that the sound coming over your phone or whatever device you're listening to this on is a shadow of what it really is in the room. Even though I know that this microphone is picking it up, and just this mic does a great job of picking up anything in front of it. I'm talking, and it's ringing. It's that lively. So, want to take a close look at this because it's got a few surprises and a few inside jokes about this guitar that I love, and it shows his sense of humor and his humility, and because he is a super, super humble guy. So let's take a look at this unbelievable guitar. I'm not even sure what he calls this model. It's the, it just says, I believe it just says Model D. It does, Model D for a Dreadnought. And yeah, so let's take a close look at it because it really does have some unbelievable complexity and aesthetics. So let's take a close look at the Stephen Kinnaird Model D mahogany Dreadnought Deluxe. So here we are at the headstock of the Stephen Canard Model D. There's his logo, which I love. And there's that wicked headstock design. The big, big shout out to J.W. Gallagher. That French curl with the extra point right there. Beautiful, beautiful headstock plate, truss cover, all gold hardware. Open back Grovers, they work like a charm. Full volute, mahogany neck. of a bone nut, ebony fingerboard, which is purfled, as you can see, all the way up and down, both sides. Beautiful. Snowflake inlay. And this neck is like butter. It has terminal butter neck. Then we come to this beautiful sunburst Adirondack top, which is sort of it's just a beautiful color. It's almost red, almost brown, very distinct. A Brazilian rosewood bridge, which I think adds a lot to the tone, the volume. Nice little tortoiseshell pickguard, standard herringbone rosette, and there's our stick air, right there. The Canard, Nacogdoches, Texas. And here's something hilarious you gotta see. I don't know if we can see this. There they are. There's two pegs, two wooden pegs, sticking out right there of the heel block. Now, when I asked Stephen what they were, because I thought it was functional, he said, well, the bottom one is to turn up the bass, and the top one is to turn up the treble. What they really are is just a creative way to cover the bolt-on neck holes. But he did this for a lark. He put those pegs in there so people would ask him what they were. But that's all they are. And he gets a big laugh out of that every time he tells people this, that these things are for bass and treble control. I just love that story. When he told me that, I laughed and laughed. Anyhow, mahogany deluxe, and bound in, I'm not sure, he told me what this was, and I can't remember for the life of me what that binding was. It is a wooden binding, of course. Maybe he'll help us. Look at that. It has a sound port in the top, which actually works. The sound just flies out of this and hits you in the chin. You can see the inside of the guitar there, how beautiful and clean it all is. It's just amazing inside. Just amazing. It's cool. Beautiful flame everywhere in this mahogany. Back, it's the same way. It's just gorgeous. Standard center strip. The end cap is the same as the binding material. And he told me what this wood was. The reason I can't remember is it's a very odd species I'm not familiar with. But look at that. Oh, man, is that ever nice. It's one of the nicest pieces of mahogany I've ever seen. Look at it. Oh, my God. Caramel delight. Look at the grain in that thing. Ooh. The end cap is, again, that really cool wood, our end strip. No pickup in it yet, but I will be putting an SGI or a K&K in it very shortly. And there you go, boys. The Stephen Kinnaird Model D. This guitar is just truly a masterpiece. I can't wait for Robin Boucher to play this thing. He'll love this guitar. Stephen Canard, buddy, you're in. Your family now. Building guitars like this, there's no choice. You are family, buddy. You're at the top of the game, very top of the heap with the rest of them. Man, oh man, oh man, what a guitar. Thank you, Stephen. Keep up the good work. We love you. So there you have it. The Canard D, Dreadnought Doomsayer. For anybody holding a banjo or a lesser guitar. which will be just about anybody in the room if they're having a guitar. If it's not a Canard, it's going to be hard to come up against this thing. Incredible. Again, the whole reason I do this, right? There's guys like this all over the world who are building guitars, not making a ton of money, because you can't at that rate, This guitar retails for, somewhere around in the 7,000 US range. It's worth every penny. When you consider that there are other guitars out there who come from renowned builders, right? That are no way in any way better than this, and they cost $30,000. And it's just you gotta give it to whoever's doing it, and Steven's doing it. So the thing that people need to remember is that, and I get a lot of this, and I have to address it a lot in reviews and shows we do. Yes, the guitar costs $7,000 or whatever it might cost, in that range, $7,000 to $8,000, whatever it is. I mean, prices go up and down. I don't like talking about prices because of that. But if you were to ask Martin or some larger well-known factory to build this guitar exactly like this one, out of this material, identical, like an identical copy of it, and this is what I want, build this for me, they would charge you $25,000 for it. It's just that simple. They would, right? And just the bridge alone would cost you another $500 because it's Brazilian, right? So you got to keep all that in mind. That's why single bench builders are so important, because they're delivering. The guitars that they put out are what they put out. It's what they believe in. It's what they want to build. But in truth, they're a custom shop, right? They're working at that level. So it isn't just orders that go in that they build. Every guitar they build is at a level that is miles above anything that you're going to see in the domestic market, from the companies that are building 120,000 guitars a year. They can't do this because their volume is too high, and they're trying to fulfill, the music store market, and the guys walking out the street want a name guitar. So we have to support these guys because they're the last ones left in the front line that are still building instruments that are heirloom quality. This guitar will, if I had children, would be my great-grandchildren's will. It would be in your will for your great-grandchildren. Jesus, how drunk are you? That's how long this guitar will last and how long it'll be awesome, and it's only going to get better. I mean, this type of construction just screams, improvement over time. So keep all that in mind. And so, as you know, we've had to change the rules on here a little bit because my single bench builders get overwhelmed when I review them. So we've had them all, when they come on board, they promise us so many guitars a year to the people that watch this channel. And Stephen has graciously given us 5 builds in 2025. So in 2025, there's 5 chances for you to own a Canard, and that he's guaranteed will go to my audience. So if you're going to order one, and I strongly suggest you do, just because obviously it's friggin' awesome, you just got to tell them where you're coming from. I heard about you from JP, and I want to order a guitar. So there'll be 5 spots. After those 5 spots are gone, you're going to be on a waiting list, because a man that builds guitars this well gets on a 2, 3, 4-year waiting list real easy. So be aware, if you want a Kinnaird in 2025, there's 5 that he's saving for us, just me and you guys, right? So there you go. There is the Stephen Kinnaird Model D Dreadnought, which Model D also stands for damn. So there you go. Stephen Canard, everybody. Check him out. Go see him. Write him. Call him. We love you, Stephen. Thanks for this, buddy. We'll see you soon, I hope. And thanks to all of you for continuing to support everything we do on here and all of the great builders that make this channel what it is. We wouldn't be here without them. Love you guys. Bye.